last conversation to have, the wedding day. How exciting, you're reaching the wedding day itself. And the reason I'm having conversation around this is because I think I went into the wedding day just not realizing how important it meant to my wife. And not that I didn't realize how important it was, but how much details mattered. The colors of the flowers, the types of flowers, what was on the middle of the table. These were details that I was overwhelmed by. And just I took for granted, and we tend to do this in marriage. So, and in your relationship, you might want to pay attention to this. We tend to take for granted what's important to our fiance, what's important to our spouse, what's important here, and we take them for granted. And I just assumed she was going to run with everything. And it mattered to her, she cared about it, and I thought I was doing her a favor by letting her run with it, picking the colors, picking everything she wanted. But she saw my lack of involvement as not being enthusiastic or caring. And so I just really want to encourage you, talk about the wedding day, so that have conversation around the wedding day so that you know the expectations even of the wedding day. How involved do you want your fiance to be in the planning of the process? Who are you going to invite? What's the list, the wedding list going to look like? How many people do you want to have? How much money are you going to spend on the wedding? And not only that, who's going to pay for all those things? Who's going to pay for the honeymoon? What's the honeymoon going to look like? You got to have these conversations as well, and what the expectations might be. There's traditional, there's tradition around who pays for what, and the bride's father paying for the wedding and the groom paying for the honeymoon. But these traditions they're traditions. Again, there's not a right and wrong. It's what's right for you. You may decide to have a small wedding, a very intimate wedding with close friends and not many people at all. You may decide to elope for all that matters. I think one of the biggest issues with eloping is just making sure you're having conversations so that you're not, hurting family members. How can you make sure that you honor other people, but have your wedding day that matters? What matters to you? I'll never forget our wedding day. My wife is as you've heard, is from Canada, and Canadian receptions on the other side of the border from here in America are very different. And I think it also included my parents' family. They went all out. We had a 6-hour reception. It was phenomenal. It had video montages. It had skits, it had dancing, it had you name it, it had it. And it was powerful, and it was fun, and it was very well planned. I just wasn't expecting all of it, the way that it was laid out. And it was super powerful. There were speeches and all kinds of things. So, but again, you have to have conversation around the wedding day so that you're not sour on your wedding. Your wedding day should be one of the most beautiful days of your life. So have conversations so you're not disappointed. Remember, unmet expectations leads to disappointment. You don't want to be disappointed on your wedding day. So have those conversations around involvement, level of involvement, what really matters to you, how big it is, who you're inviting, all those things. And especially if there's going to be conflict, if there's family members that you might feel weird that are going to be there, or what that looks like even. Maybe you just say, hey, we're going to handle it a certain way, but you got to have conversation around it so that it is, again, that your wedding day becomes one of the most beautiful days that you have been ideally picturing in your mind. I genuinely believe it can be one of the most beautiful days of your life and more if you're fighting for one another.